Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Enacted by a legislative body. Statute law. An act passed by a legislative body. Enacted by a legislative body. Codified written laws. An act passed by a legislative body. Written as for a film or play or broadcast. Set down in writing in any of various ways. Written evidence. Systematically collected and written down. Written laws. Pretend to have certain qualities or state of mind. He acted the idiot. Behave unnaturally or affectedly. She's just acting. Something that people do or cause to happen. A legal document codifying the result of deliberations of a committee or society or legislative body. Perform an action, or work out or perform an action. Think before you act. A short performance that is part of a longer program. He did his act 3 times every evening. Perform on a stage or theater. She acts in this play. Have an effect or outcome, often the one desired or expected. How does your idea work in practice? Behave in a certain manner. Show a certain behavior, conduct or comport oneself. You should act like an adult. Play a role or part. She wants to act Lady Macbeth, but she is too young for the role. A manifestation of insincerity. He put on quite an act for her benefit. A subdivision of a play or opera or ballet. Be engaged in an activity, often for no particular purpose other than pleasure. Be suitable for theatrical performance. This scene acts well. Discharge one's duties. She acts as the chair. The passing of a law by a legislative body. A legal document codifying the result of deliberations of a committee or society or legislative body. Acting the part of a character on stage, dramatically representing the character by speech and action and gesture. Formerly a state law that protected manufacturers from price cutting by allowing them to set minimum retail prices for their merchandise. Eliminated by the United States Congress in 1975. An act passed by Congress in 1978 to establish procedures for requesting judicial authorization for foreign intelligence surveillance and to create the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, intended to increase United States counterintelligence, separate from ordinary law enforcement surveillance. An act passed by Congress in 1978 to establish procedures for requesting judicial authorization for foreign intelligence surveillance and to create the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, intended to increase United States counterintelligence, separate from ordinary law enforcement surveillance. A provision in a law that confers on appropriate officials the power to implement or enforce the law. A provision in a law that confers on appropriate officials the power to implement or enforce the law. The act of ordaining. The act of conferring, or receiving, holy orders. An authoritative rule. A statute enacted by a city government. A legislative act that applies only to a particular person or particular district. An act passed by the British Parliament in 1756 that raised revenue from the American colonies by a duty in the form of a stamp required on all newspapers and legal or commercial documents. Opposition by the colonies resulted in the repeal of the act in 1766. A traveler riding in a vehicle, a boat or bus or car or plane or train etc., who is not operating it. A clause that is appended to a legislative bill. A traveler who actively rides an animal, as a horse or camel. A traveler who actively rides a vehicle, as a bicycle or motorcycle. The collection of rules imposed by authority. The great problem for jurisprudence to allow freedom while enforcing order. The branch of philosophy concerned with the law and the principles that lead courts to make the decisions they do. The learned profession that is mastered by graduate study in a law school and that is responsible for the judicial system. He studied law at Yale. A rule or body of rules of conduct inherent in human nature and essential to or binding upon human society. The collection of rules imposed by authority. Civilization presupposes respect for the law. The force of policemen and officers. The law came looking for him. The branch of philosophy concerned with the law and the principles that lead courts to make the decisions they do. A generalization that describes recurring facts or events in nature. The laws of thermodynamics. Legal document setting forth rules governing a particular kind of activity. There is a law against kidnapping.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.